The forest was alive in ways the humans had never imagined. Bioluminescent plants cast a soft green glow over the damp ground, and strange, floating spores drifted lazily through the air like tiny lanterns. Every shadow seemed to twitch with movement, and the low hum of alien wildlife created a rhythm that set Liana Carter's nerves on edge. Yet she loved it. The unknown always did that to her. "Careful with that scanner, Jen," Liana called, her voice echoing lightly under the alien canopy. "The spores react to vibrations." "Right, got it," she murmured, adjusting the delicate device in her hands. Liana bent down to examine a cluster of luminescent mushrooms. That's when she felt it, a small, sharp nip at her boot. She jerked back, nearly tripping over a root. "What the?" she exclaimed. Looking down, a tiny wolf-like cub stared up at her, teeth bared in a playful grimace. Its fur shimmered faintly in the glow, and its eyes, large, intelligent, and unnervingly expressive, studied her every movement. Before anyone could react, the cub gave her boot another gentle bite, tugging at the leather with surprising strength for its size. Is it friendly?" Jen whispered, inching backward. Liana froze mid-step, glancing nervously at the glowing flora. "Right. Got it," she murmured, adjusting the delicate device in her hands. Liana bent down to examine a cluster of luminescent mushrooms. That's when she felt it, a small, sharp nip at her boot. She jerked back, nearly tripping over a root. "What the?" she exclaimed, looking down. A tiny wolf-like cub stared up at her, teeth bared in a playful grimace. Its fur shimmered faintly in the glow, and its eyes, large, intelligent, and unnervingly expressive, studied her every movement. Before anyone could react, the cub gave her boot another gentle bite, tugging at the leather with surprising strength for its size. Is it friendly?" Jen whispered, inching backward. Liana froze for a heartbeat. The cub didn't growl, didn't lunge. Its ears twitched, and it wagged a tail-like appendage that flickered faintly with blue light. Something about its posture said, curious, not hostile. Tentatively, Liana extended her finger and tapped the cub's nose. Immediately, its entire body went limp, rolling over onto its back with an excited, joyful wriggle. A soft, gurgling sound emerged from its throat, like a laugh. "Okay," Liana muttered, laughing nervously. "Not exactly what I expected." The cub scrambled upright and bounced around her boots, nudging at her pack, pawing at her gloves, and letting out soft, playful growls. The other researchers gathered cautiously, watching in awe. "Do you see this?" whispered Jen. "It's almost like it understands us." Liana's mind raced. In human history, animals had often been intelligent in their own ways, but here was something new, an alien species capable of responding to subtle gestures, capable of emotion and recognition. It was rare, and it was incredible. She knelt down, holding out her hand. The cub paused, sniffed it carefully, then nuzzled against her palm. Her team exchanged amazed glances. This tiny alien creature had just accepted a human's touch, and done so with joy. As the cub tumbled and played, Liana realized the implications. If humans could understand and bond with these creatures, they could learn far more than any scanner or probe could reveal. They were standing at the edge of something extraordinary, the first step in a friendship that might change everything humans knew about alien life. And somewhere in the depths of the forest, Liana felt eyes watching them. Not threatening eyes, curious eyes. Maybe, just maybe, the forest was testing them, and humans were proving worthy.
By morning, the forest had transformed under the alien sun. The luminescent plants dimmed in the daylight, revealing intricate patterns on leaves and vines that shimmered like spun glass. The team had set up a small research perimeter near their landing pod, carefully marking boundaries to protect themselves and the cubs. The wolf-like cub from yesterday was nowhere to be seen at first, only to emerge from a thicket moments later, bounding with a mixture of curiosity and mischief. Liana crouched low, extending a hand. The cub approached cautiously, sniffed the air, then nuzzled her palm. Its eyes gleamed with intelligence, tracking every subtle movement. "Looks like it remembers you," Jen said, kneeling beside her with a data pad. "It's almost like it's studying us, too." The cub suddenly darted toward the team's supplies, grabbing a small bag with its teeth. Chaos erupted. Jen lunged, Liana laughed, and one of the other researchers, Marco, tripped over a root in an attempt to intercept it. The cub darted between glowing ferns, yipping with delight, dragging the bag like a trophy. Wait, don't scare it," Leona shouted, sprinting after it. "It's just playing." Her words seemed to reach the cub. It paused, tail flickering, then dropped the bag and rolled onto its back, paws waving in the air. Liana approached slowly. Crouching low, with a gentle tap on its nose, the cub rolled over again, this time closer to her, allowing her to stroke its soft, shimmering fur. The rest of the team watched, half amazed, half exasperated. Slowly, the cub's companions emerged. Two more, slightly larger and more cautious. They circled the humans, sniffing boots, tugging at sleeves, and mirroring the first cub's playful rolls. Liana realized they were testing the team, gauging their reactions, and perhaps even gauging their intelligence. "This is incredible," Marco muttered. "They're not just playful, they're social. They're communicating." The team spent the day observing the cubs, noting subtle cues. A flick of an ear meant excitement. A wag of the tail appendage signaled curiosity, and a low gurgle meant trust. Every small interaction revealed that these creatures were intelligent and emotionally complex. By late afternoon, the humans and cubs had settled into a rhythm. Liana carefully mapped out their territory, noting the cubs' favorite hiding spots and safe zones. She experimented with hand signals, teaching simple commands, while the cubs responded with enthusiasm and occasional mischief. Yet amid the playful chaos, Liana felt a prickling awareness at the edge of the forest. Something was watching. The trees seemed heavier here, the shadows deeper. The cubs paused, ears twitching, and a low growl echoed from somewhere unseen. Liana held up a hand. "Stay calm," she whispered. The cubs obeyed, sitting on their haunches and staring intently into the forest. For the first time, the team realized this planet's beauty was matched by danger. Their bond with the cubs had given them an advantage, but the forest held predators far larger and smarter than these playful creatures. Liana felt a thrill she hadn't felt in years, a mixture of fear and exhilaration. Humans had landed on this world, yes, but survival would require more than courage. It would require intelligence, empathy, and the ability to turn friendship into strategy. And as night fell, the cubs curled around Liana's boots, purring with contentment. For now, the humans had allies, and a foothold in a world that was both wondrous and deadly.
The next morning, the forest was unusually quiet. Even the glowing plants seemed subdued, as if holding their breath. Liana's cub, the smallest of the trio, padded at her side, ears twitching nervously. The other cubs lingered near the edge of the clearing, alert and tense. Something was out there. "Keep your eyes peeled," Liana warned the team. "They're smarter than we thought, and the forest, well, it doesn't exactly welcome intruders." For hours, the team collected samples, carefully documenting alien flora and fauna. Then, a sudden, low rumble shook the ground. The cubs froze, hackles rising. Liana's heart skipped a beat.
From the shadows of the towering alien trees, a predator emerged. Massive, sinewy, and armored with chitinous plates that shimmered faintly like obsidian. Its four legs moved with terrifying grace, and its eyes, bright and intelligent, locked onto the humans. The cubs hissed, rolling low to the ground, their tail-like appendages glowing in warning. Liana quickly assessed the situation. There was no time for panic. "Marco, Jen, scatter in a zigzag pattern. Use the terrain. Draw it toward the perimeter markers." The team sprinted, luring the predator toward the traps they'd improvised yesterday. Thick vines and weighted logs were designed to trip or slow down any creature above a certain size. The predator lunged, claws tearing into the earth, but human ingenuity paid off. One vine snapped taut, causing it to stumble. Another triggered a swinging log that narrowly missed Liana but struck the predator, forcing it to pivot. Meanwhile, the cubs acted instinctively. They darted around, nipping at the predator's legs, distracting it just enough to give the humans precious seconds. One cub leapt onto a low branch, pouncing in perfect timing onto the predator's shoulder, drawing a startled growl. Liana tapped her cub's nose, signaling it to maneuver behind the predator, creating a synchronized dance of human and alien teamwork. It was tense, chaotic, and dangerous, but it worked. The predator, frustrated and unable to reach the humans, eventually retreated into the forest with a final thunderous roar. The cubs gave excited barks and purrs, rolling over in relief and joy, while Liana and her team panted, hearts racing. "Did we just—" "Yes," Liana said, laughing through the adrenaline. "We survived. Together." The team quickly regrouped, checking equipment and calming the cubs. Liana knelt, stroking the smallest cub, who pressed affectionately against her hand. She realized the bond they'd built wasn't just cute, it had saved their lives. "Humans and cubs," Marco muttered, shaking his head in disbelief. Liana smiled grimly. "We think, we adapt, we collaborate. That's what makes us human. And here, it's what keeps us alive." As the sun dipped behind the alien canopy, the humans settled back at their outpost. The forest still held countless unknown dangers, but tonight at least, they had allies, and that made all the difference.
The following morning, the forest felt alive in a different way. The danger of yesterday had faded, replaced by a quiet, almost conspiratorial energy. The cubs padded alongside the humans as if they were part of the team, sniffing boots, pawing at tools, and occasionally rolling over in delight whenever Liana tapped their noses. "Look at them," Jen whispered, kneeling to record their behavior. "They're happy. They actually seem to enjoy us." Liana smiled, watching the smallest cub wrestle with a glowing vine, tumbling over itself and letting out a series of gurgling, joyful sounds. It rolled toward her boots, nudging them insistently. She bent down, scratching behind its ears. The cub's response was instant, a playful leap onto its back, exposing its belly for another tap on the nose. The team had spent days documenting the cub's intelligence and social behavior. Patterns emerged, gestures, subtle facial expressions, and vocalizations that carried meaning. Liana realized they weren't just playful companions, they were capable of communication, collaboration, and even problem-solving. Humans had always excelled through intelligence and adaptability, and here, in this alien forest, those traits allowed them to build a bridge between species. "Liana, I think we're ready for—" Marco said, gesturing to the samples and data pads spread across the outpost. "We've got enough evidence for the first detailed study of an intelligent alien species and its ecosystem. This is huge." As the team worked, the cubs stayed close, even assisting in small ways. One nudged a scanner into position, another pawed gently at a notebook, almost like it wanted to see the results. Liana laughed, realizing that their bond had become mutual trust. The humans weren't just observers, they were partners in this strange, vibrant world.
Suddenly, a soft wind stirred the bioluminescent plants overhead. Liana's eyes scanned the forest edge, half expecting danger. Instead, she saw dozens of cubs from the surrounding area peeking out from the shadows, curious but cautious. It was a reminder that the planet still held mysteries, challenges, and dangers, but also the potential for friendship and understanding. She knelt among the cubs, letting the smallest climb onto her shoulder. "You see," she said softly, "we can survive here and even thrive if we respect one another." The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the forest floor. The humans packed up their day's work, while the cubs tumbled and played in the fading light. It was a rare moment of peace, filled with laughter, soft growls, and gurgles of joy. For Liana, the lesson was clear. Humans were explorers, thinkers, and creators. Their intelligence, empathy, and adaptability didn't just keep them alive, but they allowed them to build bonds that transcended species, turning potential threats into allies. As night fell and the bioluminescent plants began to glow softly again, Liana looked around at her team and the cubs. Tomorrow, there would be more discoveries, more challenges, but tonight, there was harmony. Humans and aliens, playful and intelligent, thriving together in a world that had once seemed impossibly alien. And somewhere in the shadows, the forest seemed to acknowledge them, not as intruders, but as worthy participants in its strange, wondrous dance of life.